sharing a microphone this time, and we did a couple audio tests, and they sound pretty damn good. So, except now we're getting this reverb bullshit now for some reason, but I don't know. Anyway, preseason's finished.
Yeah.
It's time. Starting 3 days from now, man. Where it all counts. The regular season starts Thursday night with, and actually it's going to be an advantage for us because it's in an NFC North matchup. The Packers and the Bears.
Ooh.
And right off the rip, man, this is going to be something else, Rand.
It's going to definitely be something else because, they, I believe, are two of the oldest franchises in the league. So, of course, there's that history right there. Plus, they've been rivals since they both started. Not even just the Lions or the Vikings. I mean, the Lions have the Browns that they've always had a rivalry with. But it's the Packers and the Bears have always been the big rivals in the NFC. Even to this day. And, this year we could see the Bears maybe repeating for the NFC North crown because we all know Aaron Rodgers is getting old, and he's getting old quick. Last year, he suffered another shoulder injury, and when he came back, he threw, for a few touchdowns, but he also threw a lot more interceptions than he ever has really in a season. I mean, in a normal season, he probably throws like maybe 4 interceptions, and he threw 3 in one game. I mean, this game could probably decide the rest of Aaron Rodgers' career, and it could possibly bring Mitch Trubisky into fame.
I 100% agree with you there, but the key factor, I agree with you, the key factor in this matchup is definitely Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
What Aaron Rodgers are we going to get this year? Are we going to get the Aaron Rodgers from 6 years ago who just went balls out and said, I'm doing this shit my way? Or are we going to get the pouty emo Aaron Rodgers? And I don't know right now, but we'll get into the games toward the end of this podcast because we have a lot to cover. And like I said, we normally try and shoot for about an hour or so, but I already know we're going to go way over that because of, we had the final cuts Saturday afternoon. By the way, this is Monday. Happy Labor Day, everybody.
Yeah.
I hope everybody enjoyed themselves. And unfortunately, we all got to sack up and go back to work. And I'm not very looking forward to that. But hey, you got to do what you got to do. So I hope everybody was safe. I got 3 that are definitely newsworthy, and of course the first one obviously is Jadeveon Clowney being traded to Seattle. I actually like this move. I mean I love Clowney. I think Houston will be okay. In my opinion, I don't know. I might be wrong, but in my opinion, I think the Texans will be all right without Clowney. He's found a great home in Seattle, and oh my God, this one's got me a little bit excited. But I'll explain the other ones in a bit that makes me even more excited. So, Danny, what do you think about this whole trade to the Seahawks for good old Clowney?
I actually think it's great on both sides because you have Pete Carroll, who is a defensive genius. Like, yes, the Legion of Doom is gone. Or Boom. That's what they were, the Legion of Boom. Don't copyright us. And the thing is that Jadeveon Clowney, when he was with the Texans, he was good, but he didn't live up to his potential. But now he's going to a defensive guru in Pete Carroll, who they also have Bobby Wagner, who he can also he's already like a freak of nature. I mean, I love Luke Kuechly. He is my favorite linebacker. But Bobby Wagner is just freakishly good. Like, it doesn't matter who you put in front of him. And then you add Jadeveon Clowney, who could just rush the passer like anybody else in the league. That's going to be crazy. And then the Texans, there's a lot of contract disputes going on right now, and there's a lot of different egos happening. But the fact that the Texans, Jadeveon Clowney, and the Seahawks could all make it work for them, I think that's great because the Texans still have a solid defense. They still have their defensive player of the year, J.J. Watt, who is still going to be a force of nature. He's been injured. He's missed some time, but he still goes out there and he eats offenses for breakfast. Nobody can really contain him. He's maybe not as good as Aaron Donald, who is another he was made in the lab. That's what I've concluded. But anyway, I really think the Texans made out in a good way because unlike the Steelers, they actually helped their player go to somewhere where they think he can succeed, but they also got, I believe it was a 3rd-round pick and a couple of trades, I believe. I'm not quite sure, but they definitely made a great move on that. And same thing with Seattle.
Oh yeah, absolutely. This is one of those rare instances where both teams are going to come out ahead. Because usually you see a lot of lopsided things like last season. I mean, I don't remember particulars, but there were a lot of times, especially during the trade deadline, where you're trading away these all-pro players for fucking like 1st-round draft picks, 2nd-round draft picks. I'm like, are you kidding me?
Or the fact that Damon Harrison, a.k.a. Snacks, was traded to the Detroit Lions for a 5th-round pick. And think about it. They went from the bottom of the league for defense to number 10 in the league within 6 games out of 10 or out of 16. And all they had to do was trade a 5th-round pick. Like, I understand the Giants were trying to, rebuild, but a 5th-round pick for the best run stopper in the league, that was insane.
Yep. And like I said, I mean, this is one of those rare instances. I think Clowney will definitely play a lot better with Seattle. And like you said, with Pete Carroll, oh man, we got another segment coming up later, and we're gonna be discussing our what was it? Give me 1 second. Edit. Our breakout players.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna have to. We both can agree that we can add him to that list now that he's with Seattle. Yeah. I think he'll definitely have one hell of a season now. But on to the next one because we got to keep the ball moving here. Kiko Alonso has been traded to the New Orleans Saints.
What?
Yes. In exchange for linebacker Vince Beagle. We got another speechless Danny over here. But hey, I'm a Saints guy. I know it. Danny knows it. Our friend T knows it. The Saints definitely stole this one in a heartbeat. Fucking Kiko Alonso, man.
I barely even know who Vince Beagle is, and I know they're in rebuild mode, like tremendously. Like they traded away a bunch of players for 2 first-round picks. Kenny Stills and an offensive lineman. But Kiko Alonso, like it doesn't matter if it's real life. It doesn't matter if it's in Madden. He's always making plays. He's not a stat racker, but he's flashy and he makes plays when he needs to. Okay? And the Saints definitely they didn't even just steal it. They like murdered the Dolphins and then just took him and just kind of put Vic Beagley. I don't even know who that is. He probably doesn't even have 10 sacks a season. Like I don't understand that. I don't understand why the Dolphins would even consider doing that. That's not even tanking. That's not even rebuilding. That's just dumb. That is literally the dumbest thing the Dolphins could have done other than get Josh Rosen. Because honestly, I don't think Josh Rosen is really any of that good. But anyway, he was their defense. Like, yeah, they have Rashad Jones, but Kiko Alonso. Like, come on.
Oh my god, dude, it's so great. That is a fucking steal. the Saints defense just got jacked up another notch. And oh my God. But on to the final one that I want to bring up. And I'm so excited for this. This one tops them all for me amongst everything, all the other cuts that happened in the NFL for the countdown. I'm sorry, not the countdown, but the deadline, which was last Saturday by 4 o'clock for the roster cuts. LeSean McCoy signing with the Kansas City Chiefs. It's done.
I saw that, and at first I was like, what are the Bills doing? And then I realized how much talent they actually have at running back. They have Devin Singletary, a rookie who is very flashy and very well prepared for the NFL. You got the ageless Frank Gore, who can, for some reason, rock out almost 5 yards per carry every year since infinity, and he will forever play the game until he has 100,000 rushing yards.
At 36 years old.
Yeah, he's still running people over. And I saw him in the preseason. He's still running as fast as ever. And then they also have a rugby superstar who in the preseason, his first carry, he took for 65 yards to the house. So I can understand it. And then they also have Josh Allen, who is he's going to be a very good dual threat quarterback. I don't think he's going to have a lot of stats either way, but I think he's definitely going to win them a few games with his arm and his feet. But that running game for them is really good. And then the Chiefs, that was good play. I mean, they already have Patrick Mahomes, who is a very good, flashy quarterback. You have LeSean McCoy, who is a very flashy running back. And then they also have Travis Kelce. And there's so many moves in this offseason and this preseason. It's not even season, and the games don't even matter, and it's already just...
I know it. This has been the most wildest start to the NFL season ever.
We didn't even start yet.
I know. Like I said, we haven't even started the regular season yet, and everything is so topsy-turvy. It's like anything right now, anything can go. Anything goes right now in the NFL. There's like no like, oh yeah, it's guaranteed, it's a lock. It's guaranteed, it's a lock. No, man. This is going to be a wild, crazy season, and I am super stoked. More than any other NFL season, this is the one I'm most interested in because of all the big-name players and new homes this year. So many things can – oh, my God, I'm so excited. This is going to be amazing. But, all right, we got to move on to our next section. We're going to go with breakout players for 2019. And the way I'm going to be doing these is I picked one team or one person from each conference, one AFC, one NFC, so that way we can, keep the ball going because we still have a lot to discuss. For the AFC, I'm going to have to go with Juju Smith-Schuster due to the fact that he's Ben Roethlisberger's only target, in my opinion. I watched their last preseason game. And there was really nothing there that, like, really shocked me, or made me impressed with anything. So on the AFC side, I'm gonna go with Juju Smith-Schuster. Schuster. Okay. Oh, in the NFC, I didn't write anybody down. Uh-oh.
Off the fly.
I have to go on the fly in the NFC.
Yep.
Talk about yours.
Okay, so I'm just going to say that for the NFC, I'm going to say Calvin Ridley for the Falcons because, now that he's got a year, he had a great rookie season. I think he's going to have an amazing sophomore season with Julio Jones. I mean, he just came into the league and he did really well for being the shadow of Julio. But now in his second league, he's going to be stronger. He's going to be quicker. He's going to know how to deal with defenses. And I think he's going to be great. And then for the AFC, oh, man, I'm going to have to say Nick Foles Leonard Fournette. That's who I want to say. The running back for the Jacksonville Jaguars because of Nick Foles. I believe Nick Foles is going to unlock that offense, and Leonard Fournette is going to get that passion for football that everyone says he's missing, and he's just going to go off, and I'm going to predict that he's going to get 1,273 rushing yards, 4.8 yards per carry, and 12 touchdowns with 62 receptions, 647 receiving yards, and 4 receiving touchdowns.
Very interesting, sir. I like that. Especially now with being, with Nick Foles behind center, you're absolutely right. Like I said, this Jacksonville Jaguar team is going to be definitely a force to be reckoned with. We'll get into that a little bit later. But anyway, for my NFC, and I'm going to give a pop to one of my coworkers on this, I'm going with Leighton Vander. Should have been Defensive Rookie of the Year last year. Had a phenomenal season for a rookie. I love this guy. I'm not a very defensive-minded person. I never have been. I never could really. I mean, I like watching the defense, but I'm more of an offensive powerhouse type guy. Running backs, receivers, quarterbacks. It really never did anything to it until Leighton Vander. Watching him play, I was like, holy shit, this guy's a beast. And I'm expecting him to do even better again. But again, this is, the dreaded sophomore slump, which again, I hope doesn't happen with him because, I love watching this guy play. And I'm seeing him to definitely improve over time, year after year after year, get better and better and better, and definitely a Pro Bowler.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can see that. I don't think he deserved Rookie of the Year just because Darius Leonard honestly did so much better on a Colts defense that was good, but because of him, it transformed that whole defense. Whereas the Cowboys, they worked around him, where they had Sean Lee, they have DeMarcus Lawrence, they got, I believe, Byron Jones at safety, they got Jeff Heath at safety, who is also a Saginaw Valley State University alumni, which I will be eventually, so, kudos to him. And they have really good corners as well. So he was able to jump in and fill in the gaps that were left for a middle linebacker, whereas Darius Leonard, he took that defense, made it his own, and just decimated offenses.
Yes, and that's where I see Leighton being. I see Leighton definitely becoming the defensive captain, hands down. And I really hope he sticks with Dallas. I like the fit. He's an amazing player, and I can't wait to see him grow. I really can't, and I'm really hoping that he fucking just tears ass. Oh man, that dude is just an amazing guy to watch. Okay, moving on to our draft busts of 2019. I'm gonna let Danny go first on this one because I'm curious to see where he's gonna go.
All right, so draft busts, man. There's so many good players that came out. But that's rough. Who do I think is going to be a draft bust? Honestly, the player that I think everybody thought the Lions were going to take, I think actually, I think Montez Sweat is going to be the NFL draft bust because he may have been the fastest defensive end. But I really don't see him becoming all that great. I see him becoming good, but I definitely don't see him becoming what who drafted him? The Redskins. I don't believe the Redskins are going to get what they thought out of him because at Mississippi State, he did pretty good, but I don't think he was worthy of a first-round draft pick. So, and it's hard to pick somebody out of this draft that really will be a draft bust because really all of them went to different teams that fit their needs. But I think Montez Sweet or Ed Oliver, honestly, will become draft bust this year.
Okay. Not where I thought you were going to go on that. I was actually surprised. But I'm going to go a little in depth in mine because I've had this in my head now for the past week, ever since we talked about what we were going to do for this episode. Again, with my draft bust, I went AFC and NFC, one of each. Here's the thing. I am very, very particular when it comes to draft class quarterbacks. Okay? I'll get my picks out of the way first, and then I'll go a little bit more in depth after I'm done. In the AFC, for my draft bust, I'm going with Easton Stick. He's the quarterback that the Chargers drafted him. He's going to be a bust because, bottom line, hey, Phillip Rivers got that spot. You're not going to see jack shit from this guy, and you probably won't. I don't know the guy. I don't know a lot about college football. The only thing I watch in college football is Michigan. That's it. That's all I care about. Just that that spot is filled. He's going to get absolutely no playing time. So right off the rip, you're going to bust. I mean, not unless Phillip Rivers, God forbid, Phillip Rivers goes down with a career-ending injury or a season-ending injury, and they throw him in there. Then we'll see. I don't know, but I highly doubt it. Okay. And in the NFC, definitely Kyler Murray. I'm not buying the hype. I think he's full of shit. I mean, and I'm going to tell you why. You guys can give me the flack all you want. I'm not buying the Kyler Murray hype. Okay? Because, a lot of times when you're a quarterback that goes into the first round, as a Heisman Trophy winner too, you're automatically a bust just by the records themselves. Okay? You go back 2 seasons ago with Deshaun Kaiser. Cleveland Browns, first pick overall, Heisman Trophy winner. What did you do? You went 0-16. You got booted. And, side note, you got booted again. We're going to go back even further. Eric Crouch, first round, first pick, Heisman Trophy winner, Cleveland Browns. You didn't play a game. He played like shit. He was horrible. I'll go even further. And this will be my last one. But you see a pattern forming here?
I see it.
Ryan Leaf. First pick. Heisman Trophy winner. Said, you're not good enough to be quarterback in the NFL, so we'll try you at wide receiver. He said, no. So the odds are not in your favor, Mr. Kyler Murray. I'm not buying into it. Every time a quarterback goes number 1 overall, I'm automatically leery until you show me proof that you're worthy of being an NFL quarterback. So, I mean, even Tim Couch, he was another one.
The Browns.
You see a pattern here?
I mean, hey, he got drafted. He got drafted by the Cardinals, so that's where the difference is. A lot of those other ones were drafted, by the Browns.
But there's really no difference there, dude.
You never know.
Back in the day, I'm talking.
It's the NFL we're talking about. Anything can happen. Matthew Stafford, the running back.
Oh, I would pay to see that. Oh my God, that'd be funny. All right, moving on to our next one. We're going to go with most improved team. Now, this is overall. This is both NFC, AFC. This is the whole shebang right here. Out of all 32 NFL teams, who is going to be the most improved team for 2019? I'll start this one off. And I was torn between 3 teams. But one of them automatically got shut down because Andrew Luck decided to suck hind tit and get the fuck out of Dodge. So that left me with 2. Okay? The 2 teams that I was torn between is the Cleveland Browns and the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm going with Jacksonville. That's my pick. How about you, Danny?
I'm trying to go over the records in my head right now from last year. It's too easy to say the Browns because they have so much talent. it's easy to say the Jaguars because their defense is still elite, and then their offense, like I said earlier, is going to be unlocked by Nick Foles. And I'm just thinking, who? Like, I want to say the Panthers, but I don't trust Cam Newton. Just like I was correct on Andrew Luck, I don't trust that because Cam Newton is also one of those people that is a super athlete, but his body just gave out on him, and so I don't trust him. Man, most improved. Man, that's a tough one because there's so many teams, but I think I'm gonna say the Ravens. Because it was only at the end of the season is when they actually, like, improved. If they would have stayed with Joe Flacco, then, they probably would have won, like, 3 games. But they won, I think, maybe 8, 9 games, maybe. But I think they're a contender for deep playoff run.
Are you kidding? I'm sorry. I can't be on your side because of the argument we had last week when I picked the Baltimore Ravens defense #1 in our top 5. I got shit because everybody left. So how can you say the Baltimore Ravens are going to be the most improved team in the 2019 season when they lost everybody? And I even got shit for it at work. So I don't want to hear that shit about Baltimore being the most. No. I can't get behind that one.
The only reason I say it is because, for one, I can't say the Lions because that would be being biased. I'm not going to say the Vikings because they still have Kirk Cousins. I love Kirk Cousins, but he's not the answer for them. I'm not going to say the Tampa Bay Buccaneers because, let's face it, Jameis Winston is not the face of that franchise. I'm not going to say the Tennessee Titans because they were already good and then they emerged into a super team almost at the end of the season. I'm not going to say the Jaguars because they definitely completely have just a super team, just like the Browns. The Ravens are really the only team that I can say because I can't say the Colts because there's no Andrew Luck. I can't say the Panthers because of Cam Newton. I can't really say the Bills because, I think they're going to be good, but I don't think they're going to be like 13-3. I can't say the Patriots because nobody likes the Patriots. I'm not going to say the Steelers because I don't trust them as well because they have Juju and they have Ben, but they really don't have anything else other than that. They have a decent defense now, but the Bengals, they're in complete rebuild mode. The Dolphins are in complete rebuild mode. I'm trying to see the Bears. They're probably going to, go 11-5 or 12-4 again. The Packers, they're not going to be improved. Who else is there? The Chiefs, they can't really improve unless they win the Super Bowl, but that's not the most improved. I can't say the Eagles because they kind of downgraded with getting rid of Foles. So I can't say the Chargers because they're usually always good. It's just for some reason Phillip Rivers just can't push them past the postseason. But now he's got a really stacked team on both sides. So really the Ravens are the only team that I can really say will probably be the most improved. Now the defense is a little shaky because everyone did leave. But they did make some really good additions on the offense. And believe it or not, sometimes the offense can carry the team. Now, not all the time because, it was proven that, the Rams, who were a powerhouse last year, got stopped by the Patriots. But I really see the Ravens as the only team that can be the most improved.
Very interesting. And there's a couple things that you mentioned here that I have to bring up because I totally forgot about it until you mentioned the Colts and Jacoby Brissett. Get a load of this. The Indianapolis Colts agreed to keep in mind here, this came out today, a 2-year, $30 million contract to Jacoby Brissett. Oh my God. I totally forgot about that one. That made me laugh so fucking hard. I'm like, are you kidding me? Oh, Jesus Christ, man. That was one of the most funniest things I've ever read. How the hell can you give a mediocre quarterback at best a 2-year, $30 million contract? That's like saying, I'm going to go, be a rocket scientist and get paid $5 million, but I don't know what the fuck to do. I mean, that's basically the brunt of the situation here. Let's pay him for nothing because your season's already done. Okay, you're gonna pay a quarterback $30 million to lose. Pay me $30 million to just fuck off all day long. I don't know, but that's just that's just ridiculous. Okay, let's move it on. We're gonna go. The teams that's going to go first to worst. I picked one team in the AFC, one team in the NFC. Okay. All right? On the fly. You got this on the fly, or you need a minute to think about it?
No, I got this.
All right, from first to worst. Go.
I definitely think the Patriots go from first to worst. I definitely think that happens because, one, Tom Brady doesn't have a security blanket, Rob Gronkowski, and we all know he's won a lot of Super Bowls because, Mr. Gronk has been down the field past everybody or out-muscles everybody. He might have some little playmakers, but his biggest winning factor is Rob. And without him, I seriously think maybe not the Dolphins, I think they probably go to third. I think the Dolphins still tank, but they don't really count. But I see Tom Brady and the Patriots being third in their division. And I think the team that goes from first to worst in the NFC is the Eagles. Because they did give up Nick Foles. And I love Carson Wentz. He came from a Division II school. And he does really well when he plays, but the past few years, he's been injured every year. And who's bailed out the Eagles? Nick Foles. Nobody else, just Nick Foles. He even brought them to a Super Bowl. But then they got rid of him. And who's going to do that? Who's going to have that type of magic? Who's going to have that type of locker room presence? Not a backup other than Nick Foles.
Oh, my God. You surprised me, sir. But NFC, we're right on the line with that one. We're exactly the same. I wrote it down too. The Philadelphia Eagles are finished. I've been saying that for 5 months now, ever since they released the information that Nick Foles was being released. You guys are done. I mean, and you also got rid of Golden Tate. I mean, yep. Philadelphia Eagles is my NFC as well, from first to worst. I'm actually surprised about your New England Patriots pick. I mean, did you forget a little guy called Edelman? I don't know about third.
I don't see first or second.
Well, I don't know, but my AFC, and it's the polar opposite from what Danny was talking about. My first to worst is the Baltimore Ravens because their defense is shot. I can't see, how you're saying the offense is going to carry the defense. I don't see that happening. Baltimore is pretty much done. So I'm sorry. I can't be on your side. Okay. I can't be on your side on that one. But we
can't always agree when you're wrong.
Right. Yeah. What? Kiss my ass.
Maybe later.
Okay. You promise?
Yeah.
Okay. And now we'll go to the opposite side of the spectrum. Worst to first. And I'll start this one off. Starting with the AFC, obviously, it's the Cleveland Browns. I think the Cleveland Browns finally have it on lockdown. This is going to be a very exciting season. I hope they play more Cleveland Brown games on TV. Little side note, I lived in Ohio for 6 years. That's where I originally got into football. I was living in Ohio. I lived 10 minutes away from Cedar Point. I actually met the Cleveland Browns when they were at Cedar Point back in, it was like 87, 88, somewhere around there, when the Browns were still good, when they were fighting and they were going for the AFC Championship. And Yeah, I was there for the prime years, and I loved watching him. But, Bernie Kosar was one of my favorite quarterbacks growing up as a kid, and now finally here we are, 30 years later. Oh, yes, they're good. The Browns are definitely restored. That is a lock, and I cannot wait to see them in the postseason. It's going to happen, I am thrilled. I mean, even if they don't, they're still going to be a hell of a lot better than they were last year because they are fucking stacked, and I'm going to love every minute of it. In the NFC, I'm going to have to go with the Washington Redskins. As much as he's already great, I can feel the hate swelling inside you. Dwayne Haskins. That's all I gotta say about that. I think the Redskins are gonna be bouncing back. I mean, unfortunately, no Alex Smith. Yeah, he's pretty much he's done, and it sucks because I loved watching him play football. One hell of an arm, and I don't know. I mean, I want to see him come back, but that infection in his leg really fucked him up, man, and it's sad, but I don't know. But I'm taking the Redskins to go to worst from first. I mean, I'm not necessarily saying, hey, they're gonna go to the fucking NFC championship game and they're gonna go to the Super Bowl. No, they're gonna be better than what they were last year.
Yeah. No, and that's okay. I can see it. I don't see them being the best team, but I definitely see them being much better if they start Dwayne Haskins. Remember, they do have Kirk Cousins, or not Kirk Cousins, Case Keenum. The two initials are flipped, which is kind of funny. Anyway, but AFC, I would say the Buffalo Bills, because of all that they've done on offense, all that they've done on defense. Now, I still think Ed Oliver will not be as good as his draft rank, which I think was number 9 right after the Lions, I think. I can't quite remember, but I really don't see him being that good. But I see the team as a whole being maybe first, but I definitely see them being second in their division. I definitely see them above the Patriots and the Dolphins. And then for the NFC, I just had it in my head. The Falcons. I really think that Falcons bounce back this year. They definitely made a lot of good transactions. All of their players are healthy because the past couple of seasons, like Devontae Freeman, he's been hurt a lot with a groin injury. Julio Jones, he was doing well, but I'm sure he was battling an injury because he still wasn't producing touchdowns. But I see the Falcons being a real threat to anybody because they have Calvin Ridley, they have Austin Hooper, they have Julio Jones, Devontae Freeman. They added another speed plus power back as a rookie. Can't remember his name, but he's fast and he's big. Devontae Freeman, he's very elusive. He can throw his weight around, but this rookie running back can definitely lower his shoulder and knock people around. And the defense, I think they're going to be a top 15 defense, and that's all you need to get carried to the Super Bowl.
Very interesting.
I don't see them going to the Super Bowl, though. I just see them being a very good team.
Yeah, right, exactly.
No, I'm just kidding.
No, you're good. I can agree with you on that one. I think the Falcons are definitely going to make a comeback after last season's disappointment. Yeah. And it really made me sad because I've always in my head my rivalry is Saints Falcons. Yep. I've always been bouncing back and forth between those two because I love those two teams so much. And whenever they would play each other, I'm like, shit, who do I root for on this one? I'm always torn between, but I always ended up going with my Saints. But oh man, that what was about 3 or 4 years ago, I think that Saints and Falcons team were so evenly matched on both sides of the ball that it was just, oh my God, they were all workhorses. Oh, it was just so fun to watch them two play against each other. Matt Ryan versus Drew Brees. Oh, that's a matchup. But I only have my picks left. So what did you come up with that you wanted to talk about?
First, I only came up with 2 things, but I think they can be like pretty good ones. The first one is top 5 players we think that'll be injured during the season and how they will affect their team. Because that's something people don't talk about. People don't talk about injury-prone players. They don't talk about what a player can be to a team if they got injured. We talk about, man, this player just got traded to this team. Oh, they're going to be so good. But nobody talks about, man, if this player got hurt, this team is done.
Ooh, man, I gotta go on the fly on this. Oh shit! Damn, you're surprising me on this one. I'm not gonna go 5 through 1. You know, I'm not gonna do all that. I'm just gonna go. I'll pick a couple, but I can't give you a top 5. That's for sure. Because I'm not good at on the fly. I like every. Okay, just hold on. Just give me a minute. I already had a few in mind.
Okay, go ahead.
No interrupting.
Okay.
No, I'm kidding.
That's all right.
Well, the first one that comes in mind, obviously, Carson Wentz. It's every season. He's horrible. I'm looking for him to go down sometime this year, as always. Aaron Rodgers is another one. See how I'm dogging the quarterbacks on this episode, man. I am all over these quarterbacks this year for some strange odd reason. I don't know. Maybe it's a sixth sense or something. I don't know. But Aaron Rodgers, he's another one. You know, from all the concussions and the shoulder and the knee. Like I said, we'll see what happens. I don't know. But, yeah, those two right there, Wentz and Rodgers, have been in the past, 3 or 4 seasons. It's been pretty solid that they spend some time sitting on the bench because they're hurt.
Yep.
And I don't know. I think this is going to be the year where it's going to be one of those years where I think that the second stringers are going to be playing a lot more, in my opinion, because I've been saying that a lot lately. There's just something inside me that's saying, hey, this is. I mean, not only is this going to be a topsy-turvy season, it's going to be wacky at the same time. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just making sure because I'm sounding like a fucking moron right now. But I hope Julio Jones will be safe. But I just right now I got them two. So you go with yours and I'll think of some more.
Well, I'll go with an obvious one. I think if Drew Brees goes down, I think the Saints are done. Because I believe the Saints, they have good players, but Drew Brees is one of those quarterbacks that makes his team better. You know, Michael Thomas is a great receiver, but he's not an elite receiver. He's great enough to make all the extra plays for Drew Brees, but if Drew Brees goes down, I don't see them being a threat. I see Alvin Kamara still being him. I see Michael Thomas still being him, but outside of those two, there's nothing. The defense is still kind of up in the air for me because they still weren't in the top 10 last year in defense. They had a couple turnovers, a few good games, but I think his name is Marshawn Lattimore. He had a down season for his sophomore, year. So I think the Saints definitely don't do well without Drew Brees. I'm not going to talk about the Lions. Well, no, I will, because if I'm going to talk about one quarterback, I might as well talk about another. I think the Lions don't win any games, except for maybe 2, without Matthew Stafford, because Matthew Stafford is also that team. He's in every game. He plays hard, and I think if he goes down, the Lions don't have a chance. Trying to think of. It's hard because there's a lot of teams that have a lot of good players nowadays. It's really because, like the Buccaneers, they don't have many players that if they go down, they do any worse. I mean, they already have Jameis Winston. That already hurts them anyway. Pick Six City. Pick Six Podcast. Subscribe and like. And comments.
Yeah,
exactly. And Let me. So I think for the Chargers, I think if Melvin Ingram or Joey Bosa goes down, they don't do well. And I think the 49ers, I think if George Kittle goes down, I think that whole offense is done. Because last year, what was it, 1,100 or 1,300 receiving yards? I mean, he was literally their offense last year. So without him, I don't see them doing well at all. And this is a really tough question, even for me, because the importance that one player makes is huge. Because, like for the Colts, for instance, it's a huge hit that Andrew Luck does not, he's retiring. That's a huge hit to them. Because who else do they have? All they have is Jacoby Brissett that, like you said, they gave a 2-year, $30 million contract to, which, to me, that's desperation. That's, hey, please stay. We will give you this much money in 2 years if you just stay and stick it out with us. I can't say, well, if Jacoby Brissett gets hurt, they're done. They're already done. And I guess also for the Jaguars, if Jalen Ramsey or Nick Foles get hurt, I think that team's done as well.
Okay. Well, let's go back. Let's go back to your Indianapolis Colts scenario. But let's just for the sake of argument here, let's say Jacoby Brissett comes out and he starts the first 6 games at 5-1. He's about 1,500 yards. Let's say 3 touchdowns. But let's say he's fine, but T.Y. Hilton goes down. Now you're screwed. You're done. I mean, assuming that, Jacoby Brissett comes out and for some god-awful reason swallow football pills and can actually throw the football. I mean, I just had to throw that one out there just for sake of argument. I totally agree. But I just had to throw that out there just in case. Because you really don't have a backup. I don't know. That's just me.
I will just say that statistically, with Andrew Luck, T.Y. Hilton is probably one of the best receivers in the league. He's a good receiver with backups, though. Statistically, if you and it's probably not his fault because he'll be wide open and they'll just completely miss him on the left side when he's on the right side. But statistically, he does not make plays unless Andrew Luck is in. Which, that's where I say that I don't really think T.Y. Hilton is really too much of a factor unless there's a good quarterback in there. If there's a good quarterback in there, he's going to be great. Now, if there's a good quarterback, so let's say we put, Case Keenum, he's a good quarterback. He's not a great quarterback. He's not mediocre. He's good. He can work with the talent around him and make himself look better, which I think T.Y. Hilton can work with that as well. But, without Andrew Luck, I don't think T.Y. Hilton is as great as people make him out to be.
Never really thought about it. It's a very interesting case. But like I said, I just did that for shits and giggles, man, just as a scenario. But
no, I just throw out stats and everything. I'm sorry.
Shitting in my cornflakes, man. All right. So what else you got?
Top 5 MVP candidates. I wanted to make it simple, but I also wanted to make it a little bit challenging because anyone can write something down. But if you just come up with something on the fly, it makes you think and it makes you have to, really think like, okay, who actually has a legitimate chance of winning MVP? And like we mentioned before, for the NFL, anything can happen. Anything that could happen probably will. And we just never know. There might be a team, like you said, Jacoby Brissett, he might just become, 6,000 yards passing. 78 touchdowns, 1 interception, 4,000 rushing yards, 3 rushing touchdowns, just him.
Yeah, because you also got to figure, which is good for this, which is actually the good side for the Indianapolis Colts. Their offensive line is the same.
Oh, yeah, so he's definitely got the chance, but I really don't see him as an MVP. I guess we can just switch back and forth between, the first MVP candidate, which is like the fifth, and then we just give our reasoning for it, see if we, agree with it. I would say number 5. Man, I wish I could do a receiver, but I can't really do a receiver because it's mostly quarterbacks or running backs. But number 5, I think a real legitimate chance could be for Julio Jones to get that first number 5 spot. Because if Devontae Freeman is healthy, they're worried about stopping the run with him because he's great. Calvin Ridley is going to have a great sophomore season, in my opinion. And I really think Julio Jones is going to step it up with the touchdowns. Now, do I think he's going to be like a Randy Moss or a Terrell Owens? No. Do I see him with 15 receiving touchdowns this year and maybe 1,700 passing or yards receiving? I do.
I can get behind that only if, like I said, which in our last segment, if he stays healthy.
Yeah.
If he stays healthy, I have no problem with that one at all. I'm in total agreement on that. But if he can stay healthy, if he gets hurt again, there's no way. That's automatic DQ for me. Number 5 for me. Man, this is so tough. Man, you come up with some hard ones, especially on the fly like this. Number 5.
Keep it raw.
Mm-hmm. Again, depending on if he's healthy and he has a good season and he gets it back, I'm going to have to go with Aaron Rodgers.
I can see that. They label him as the best quarterback of our generation. Like, of course, they say Tom Brady's the GOAT, but I think he's also the product of Bill Belichick and Rob Gronkowski. But I could see him being in the MVP candidate conversation if he's healthy and he's playing like he used to. Now, we don't know the full extent to all of his injuries or how his body is reacting every year, but I can definitely see that. Now, number 4, this is going to be, it depends how much they play him. I think Todd Gurley has the number 4 spot if he can repeat what he was doing last year as a workhorse.
Yeah, okay, I can get behind that. And again, if they stay healthy. We're seeing a lot of these big namers starting to go down now because, of course, they're starting to get older. Yeah. They're not getting younger. Things are going to happen. So we're starting to name off these guys who are they're starting to get hurt more. So, like I said, I don't want to keep going through each pick saying if they stay healthy, if they stay healthy. But that's the way it's going right now because with all this young talent we got coming in this year, you really can't say, oh, so-and-so is in the top 5 automatically, without ever seeing any of these guys play. So it's going to be interesting to see how it all develops as the season goes on, to see who's actually who could actually be, even Rookie of the Year, whatever. But yeah, definitely again. But if he stays healthy, and I don't, here I go. I don't want to do that. Okay, let's see. My number 4. I'm going to have to go with Alvin Kamara.
I see that. He won Offensive Rookie of the Year. When he was a rookie. I believe that was 17. But let's see. My third one, I'm going to have to go defense. It's going to have to be a tie between 2 defensive players because they probably won't ever win MVP. but I think they definitely deserve it. It's a tie between Luke Kuechly and Darius Leonard. Now, I am really, really into Darius Leonard. Do I think he's better than Luke Kuechly? Probably not, but I definitely see the both of them being MVP caliber players because Luke Kuechly runs that defense like a quarterback. And without that defense, Carolina would never do anything. And then Darius Leonard, like I said before, he transformed that defense. As soon as he stepped on to that field, he gave that defense an identity. And I wish they would consider more defensive players in MVP, but it's more of an offensive league nowadays. So, but those would be my two number 3 spots.
Well, they do have a defensive MVP, don't they?
Defensive player of the year.
I mean,
but
still.
It's not MVP of the league.
I understand that.
Like, Aaron Donald was... Sorry, but Aaron Donald was barely considered MVP of the league. Barely. He was in the bottom of all the talks, which amazes me because he broke the NFL record for sacks for a defensive tackle. Okay? He got 20 and a half or 21 and a half sacks for a defensive tackle. And he wasn't even in the top 5 for defensive or for MVP of the league. Like that's a shame right there. Todd Gurley, his teammate, was considered in the top 5. But he wasn't even mentioned in the top 5 or 10 or 15. That's awesome.
Very interesting. All right, well, seeing as how you went with defense, just to keep it on the same level, I'm gonna go in the same route for my number 3. You know what? I'll even make it a tie too, because I like both these players, and I already mentioned one of them earlier. I'm gonna go with Leighton Vander and Khalil Mack, because I mean, why not? Khalil Mack, both of them are they're just amazing to watch. They are on it every game, every play. They are there. They're the playmakers. They make it happen. I mean, how could you not hate on those guys? Khalil Mack, that's another one. That surprised me when friggin' Oakland let him go to Chicago.
I know.
That was such another topsy-turvy trade. Who's going to benefit most? Oh, duh. It was obviously going to be the Chicago Bears. I'm like, what? There's just the people. You front office guys need to start learning how to do your job, because that's what I mean. That's what it all boils down to with me. It's the front office people that make all these decisions. Okay, and that pisses me off to no end, and it always will. But it's always going to be that way. I'm sorry, but if I'm a head coach of an NFL team, I should be able to dictate who I want on my football team. It's my team. I'm the one running the show here. You brought me here to win championships. You brought me here to go to the playoffs, whatever the case may be. The head coach, the coaching staff should have the final say on what they do with their team. Yep. You know what I'm saying? That's the way I believe in, because I'm trying to steer clear of the Lions. I'm trying so hard to steer clear of the situation because the Lions are famous for this bullshit. You bring in these guys, you sign these guys to contracts, and then you let them go on cut day. You signed Jesse James to what, 2-year deal? And what'd you do? You cut him. You threw away fucking money.
No, they didn't cut him.
No, they cut him.
Show me that real quick. 'Cause I saw they cut Zignata, but...
Oh, no, they cut Jesse James, too. Let me bring it up here. I kid you not. They got the whole shebang on the NFL mobile app. Oh, yeah, by the way, grab the NFL mobile app if you don't. It's an amazing app. It's got every possible news you can think of. They also play free games Thursday night, later on in the season, the Saturday night games. Okay. The Sunday games, The 1 o'clock ones, you're going to get what you get. You can't choose unless you have a cable provider, but they do play free games Sunday. The 4 o'clock game is free. The Sunday night football is free, and Monday night football is free. So you can watch all that shit for free. Okay, let me see. Let's see if I can find it here. Here it is. Tracking every single NFL roster cut. So while we're here, let's go through the Lions really quick, and I'll show you. I mean, look at that. These are novels on all this. I mean, look at that from the fucking Bengals. Look at all them players. The Browns. But here we go. Yeah. Oh, shit. I'm breaking your shit.
That Andrew Adams one surprises me a lot.
Tease Tabor's gone, too.
Yep.
Oh, Tommy Lee Lewis. I'm sorry. Tommy Lee Lewis is the one they got rid of. My bad. Jesse James. I don't know why I thought Jesse James. But still, same thing. Tommy Lee Lewis. We didn't even get a chance to really see him.
I know. He was supposed to be...
But still, we went out during free agency last year and signed him to a contract.
Yep.
He hardly plays, and you cut him. I don't like that. That is something that I don't. Why are you going to cut somebody that didn't get a chance to prove themselves? And that's one thing that really pisses me off, especially people that were already established that know they can kick ass. Zach Zenner is the prime example that I'm setting on this one.
Yep.
The fucking Lions cut him 3 fucking times in 2 years, and it's a shame. So Zach, I hope wherever Zach Zenner goes, and he comes and plays us, I want to see him run for fucking 1,100 yards and score 3 touchdowns.
Yeah.
He was one of the biggest fan favorites in Detroit, next to Matthew Stafford. This guy moved like Sanders, plays like fucking Sanders. He can turn nothing into a 40-yard gain every single time he touches the football, and you're going to let him go. And then you're going to let go Tom Savage. Then you're going to fucking let go the other backup quarterback that we were trying out. Whatever his name is. David Fales, thank you. I have Foles and Fales mixed there. David Fales, you cut him, and you're going to fucking keep Josh Johnson as our backup quarterback, a quarterback who has played for 5 fucking teams in 12 seasons in the NFL, and you can't play for shit. I got to get off of this. I got to get off of this because this is really starting to fucking piss me off. And but the point is, the head coach and the coaching staff should have final say on their team, not the fucking front office assholes where it's all about fucking money. It's not all about fucking money. It's the love of the game. And that's all I got to say about that.
I will say the Zach Zenner and then the wide receiver Brandon Powell, I believe those ones, I don't understand why they cut them. The other cuts, except for Andrew Amos, I don't understand why they cut him either. He had an interception and a few passes defended. But those other cuts I do kind of agree with, but that's for another day. That's for another discussion. I think next time we should talk about cuts and how we feel about all the cuts. Because, I don't know, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say you pretty much you just got what I felt about the cuts.
Yeah, but I'm not going to be as mad because we're still keeping the same type of team. We did a lot of great transactions in the off season. Now the cuts, they were surprising, but it is also a business as well. It is also, I do think they are looking at it as, okay, who are the best players for our team? Maybe this player doesn't fit our scheme exactly. They might be a good player, but they might not be good with us, though. Because you also got to think about that as well, that maybe it's not just the front office, maybe it's the players that, don't really want to play for the team anyway. Because I know there's a few players that don't want to play for a certain team.
Well, no, I understand that, but in this case with the Zenner thing, I disagree with that one. Zenner loved it. Zenner loved it here, and that's why they brought him back. That second time, he was like, "Oh, yeah, come back." We'll bring it back over here. And everybody loved him here.
Yeah.
He loved being here. We loved him here. But yeah, let's get rid of him anyway. Again.
No, that's why I was saying, I don't understand the Zach Zenner part because honestly, we could have probably kept Zenner over CJ Anderson. Like, cool, we got CJ Anderson, but we kind of already had a power back, but I guess that's what the Lions were thinking as well. Like, we get CJ Anderson, and he does what basically Zenner does. We got Kerryon Johnson. And I think what really pushed them to cut Zach Zenner was just the fact that Ty Johnson is just really fast. He goes really fast, really fast. And I love Zenner, but I'm trying to look at it their viewpoint, and that's what I think is what happened, is that they just saw that Ty Johnson might have a better future with them and might help them out with their scheme than what Zach Zenner does. Now, like I said, would I rather have Zach Zenner? Then yes. But, no, who knows? But anyway, my second MVP candidate, who I think will get second place, is Ben Roethlisberger. Because he definitely does everything he can to win a football game. He barely gets sacked. He took Juju Smith-Schuster and had him, 13 to 1,600 receiving yards last year? Like that. That was insane. He helped James Conner become a good, running back. And I think he becomes, the second place MVP.
We're at number 3 or number 2? We're number 3. Oh, we're at number 2? Oh, shit. Oh, man. We might have to do some honorable mentions, dude. I forgot about a couple. Number 2. See, this is where it's going to be tricky for me. Because my 1 and 2 spots are my 1 and 2 spot teams as well. Number 2, I'm going to have to go with Drew Brees. I want to put him at number 1, but it's so hard. Yeah, Drew Brees. Again, another, 16th season? 15th, 16th season this year? Again, had him on my fantasy football team back in 2003? 2002, 2003? Something like that. But, he's one. He always produces. He's always consistent. He's always on. When it's game time, it's game time. I'm going to go with definitely Drew Brees at number 2.
I'm going to go Drew Brees number 1 because, like I said, he just transforms any offense. Every year with the Saints, he's done everything he can to help them win games, and he got a little bit of help from the defense, and all of a sudden, they're now contenders every year.
Absolutely. And, we should still be going into this season talking about how the fucking New Orleans Saints won the Super Bowl, but that's for another subject as well, for another time, too.
I think they would have won it.
Oh, yeah. There's no doubt they would have won it. And for my number 1, of course, Patrick Mahomes. I think he's going to repeat this year. Like I said, if he can stay away from the sophomore slump, I don't see him being the 5,051 as he did last year. Pretty damn close. You got the same team. You got a couple additions. Nobody left. So I see him definitely at least 4,500 and 4,500 with 40, maybe. Hopefully he'll match what he did last year. Patrick Mahomes is my number 1.
All right, so now I believe the last few things that we were going to cover is our picks for the first week? Oh, man.
Do you have a pen up here?
Do I have a pen?
Because I have to write yours down because you didn't write yours down.
Oh, man.
I want to keep track.
I know. I was going to say, no, I do not
Go grab one.
have a pen. Well, no, I can.
Go grab one. Oh, are you going to put it under your keep notes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Notes. And then...
Because what we're going to do, ladies and germs.
All right, number 1.
ladies and germs, me and Danny started this last season, and it was really fun to do.
Yep.
We basically do what Fox Sports does, but we go to a bigger length. We go through all 16 games, we pick our winners, and then we choose our upset and stuff like that. It's just, we used to do that for shits and giggles. But what we're going to do now that we're doing this podcast, I say we make it a little more fun and do a point system. Okay?
Okay.
So what we're going to do each week, we're going to go through each game, take our winners of each game.
We get a point.
You get a point. If you get your upset, you get 2. So that's 18 points a week.
Okay.
I think that'll be pretty fun.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that'll be fun. I'm also trying to get a thing going at work too, but that's for an off-air conversation.
Yeah.
But I was gonna go somewhere and I forgot where I was gonna go. Anyhow, I don't know. Oh, I'll probably remember halfway through. All right, so first up I'm so excited, dude. This is great. Finally, we're in the regular season.
I know.
And we can start doing this shit, man. I'm so jacked. So, of course, first game of the season, the Green Bay Packers at the Chicago Bears for the 2019 NFL regular season opener and the 100th year of the NFL. Fucking A right. So, yeah, Packers at Bears. Thursday night. I'm going with the Bears. The Bears. Because, like I said, I don't know Aaron Rodgers. I don't know what Aaron Rodgers we're going to get.
Yeah.
So I'm going to play it safe on that one, and I'm going to go with the Bears because Mitchell Trubisky has such a major opportunity to be that MVP quarterback. I remember when he first started, when he was battling with the other backup. That was when he was the backup.
Yep.
Who was the starter a couple seasons ago? It was between Mitchell Trubisky and some other dude. And I forgot who it was. I can't believe I already forgot who it was. Well, it was a couple years ago. But anyway, I can see him becoming a great quarterback. Yep. He out of everybody last year, he threw me off guard. He blew my mind. I was not expecting him to be an NFC North champion.
Yeah. 12-4.
And his stats were unbelievable. What was it, like 4,200 yards? 30 touchdowns and 7 interceptions, I think it was. Something along that line. I don't remember it. Danny's the stat man. He'll be able to tell you.
It was a little less than that.
But I'm not.
But it's pretty close. I mean,
yeah.
Great.
So yeah, I'm taking the Bears over the Packers. Now it's on to Danny.
Yeah, I would say the Bears as well because the Bears definitely have a dominant defense, and regardless how their offense works, their defense is going to decimate. I think Khalil Mack is – I'm just going to say it. I think Khalil Mack hurts Aaron Rodgers' first game of the year. I'm sorry, but I mean that guy, even if I was playing, I'd be terrified of Khalil Mack, okay? That guy don't care. He's like a Lawrence Taylor, okay, except modern day. And he just – I don't know. He's just a scary man, and – they got Raekwon Smith. They got Danny Trevathan. They got a great defensive line. One of the defensive tackles' names escaped me. They got great corners. They got pretty good safeties. And, Mitch Trubisky, I believe he threw like just barely 4,000 yards, like 28 touchdowns. But like you said, just under 10 interceptions. Like, he played smart football. He didn't have a lot to work with, but what he did have, he worked with. And that's why they went 12-4, and that's why I have them winning this week as well.
Absolutely. That's going to be one hell of a game. And plus, it's going to help us, seeing as how we're in the NFC North. This is going to give us a little inside view of what's going to happen in our division this year. Yeah. So that's going to be interesting. On to the second game. Washington Redskins at the Philadelphia Eagles. This is going to be, for me, in my opinion, one of those toss-away games where I really don't give a shit who's going to win this game. I'm picking the Eagles on this one just because of the fact they're home. Okay. That's it. I mean, this is a throwaway game. This game doesn't do anything for me. I'm going with the Eagles because they're at home.
I'll agree with you. I think the Eagles take this mostly because at least the Eagles have some type of running game. They do have offensive weapons like Zach Ertz. They actually have a really good defense. But the Redskins, they don't know if they're going to play, Case Keenum. They don't know if they're going to play Dwayne Haskins, Jordan Reed, who was supposed to be one of the best tight ends, who's always been injured most of his career. So, he's always in and out. They got rid of their receivers in the offseason. So I don't see the Redskins being good this year. They still have Ryan Kerrigan as, one of their best defensive players, if not their best player on the team. Because that guy is phenomenal, but he can't win offense and defense. So I do have the Eagles winning as well.
All right. On to game 3, the Buffalo Bills at the New York Jets. Ooh, that's smooth. Ooh. Le'Veon. Oh, man. Of course, now that the Bills got rid of McCoy, that's going to change my outlook on things. I didn't pick the Bills winning this. I did all this before all that news was released. So I'm definitely taking the Jets over the Bills now because it's hard for teams to win on the road, especially in your your season opener, starting it on the road. It's kind of a feat to beat. Yeah. And of course, Le'Veon. I take the Jets over the Bills.
This is my game to watch. So this is my 2-point game.
Oh, this is your upset?
Yeah, my upset. Because I take the Bills.
Interesting.
Now, it's tough because they both have young defenses. They both have very good young defenses. And they also both have semi-young offenses. I love Le'Veon Bell. He plays the game in slow motion like a lot of sportscasters have said, which I totally agree with because every time he has the ball, he just takes his time and then he walks into the end zone. And it's like, what? How? But I think the Bills have more weapons on offense to work with than the Jets do because outside of Sam Darnold and Le'Veon Bell, the receivers just – Robbie Anderson, he's fast, but he's not good. And then they have Jamison Crowder, and he's pretty elusive, but I don't know. I have the Bills, and this is definitely my game of the week. So that's my pick.
All right. Next up, and I accidentally circled my upset game as the wrong one. I'm all over the place today. The next game we got is the Falcons at Vikings. Hands down for me, it's the Atlanta Falcons. For me.
No, it's a tough one.
Are you trying to take orbit?
No.
You're trying to fly? I really don't see this as a tough one. I mean, again, sure the Falcons are on the road, but I'm hoping for that resurgence for the Atlanta Falcons this year. I'm really pulling because I really want to get that New Orleans Saints Atlanta Falcons feud back. And I don't know. I think Minnesota they're still not there yet. But again, who knows? Things will change. Like I said, this is the first week, so a lot of things can change. You never know. But yeah, I'm Falcons over the Vikings.
I'm going to have to agree with you because, and I know I've said this a lot, I don't trust Kirk Cousins with that offense. He did not prove that he deserves to have playmakers because Case Keenum brought them to an NFC championship, and he's a good quarterback, and Kirk Cousins is supposed to be a great quarterback, and yet he can't even get to the playoffs with a stacked team like that. If there was another quarterback in there, I would give it to the Vikings because their defense is phenomenal. Harrison Smith is a crazy, cracked-out guy. I think Dalvin Cook is going to definitely be probably comeback player of the year from being injured 2 years. And Stephon Diggs and Adam Thielen are great. Kyle Rudolph is definitely an underrated tight end. He definitely makes plays, and people just don't notice for some reason. But, yeah, I definitely have the Falcons winning this one because I think they're more of a complete team, whereas the Vikings just don't really have a quarterback.
Yeah, and you know that point there is something that I've been also making quite a bit lately with Kirk Cousins. He's on the wrong team. That offensive scheme does not fit him like he did with Washington. You could put Kirk Cousins with the Raiders. Boom, you're there. He doesn't fit well with Minnesota, and that I think to me that's majorly part of their downfall for me. Not to mention they're in the NFC North with us. So fuck them guys. All right, next up, my upset game. The Baltimore Ravens at the Miami Dolphins. I'm going with Miami. Like I said, with the depletion of Baltimore's defense, that's going to put a big target on Baltimore because everybody's gone. They all left. I mean, again, first week, got to give us a break here. But basically, this is all going by what I'm seeing. There's going to be a big red X every time the Baltimore defense takes the field. So I'm not saying they're gonna. I'm not saying they're gonna be 3-13 or 4-12. I feel like they're gonna take a big step down from where they were because we've gotten to this conversation before, and even with a couple of guys at work that I talked to. You know, it's been a staple for over 20 years. It's been all about the defense for the Baltimore Ravens. Yep. I mean, top 3 easy for 20 plus years, and now that that's depleted, you're gonna see a change, and it's not gonna be for the better for Baltimore. So I'm definitely going with Miami over the Baltimore Ravens, even though I got it right. That's going to be my upset. Dolphins over the Ravens.
I still have the Ravens because regardless of how their defense is, and their defense is still going to be okay, I think they're still going to make top 20, maybe even top 15, because they do still have playmakers on the defense, and they made a couple of transactions. I mean, they do have Earl Thomas. Now, if he gets injured, that's a problem, but I feel as if they will still be all right, and their offense is definitely going to be the real thing to look at, though. But the Dolphins are in complete rebuild mode, and they got rid of Kiko Alonso. They got rid of Kenny Stills. They don't have anybody, so I don't see them squeaking out a win, even if the Ravens' defense is depleted. I see the Ravens still taking this, and I see the Dolphins. Even right now, I see them going 2-14 right now.
Yeah, but like I said, I got to stick with what I wrote, you know, because I said I did all this before I found out about Kiko Alonso, you know, and all that. So that's why I had to give the edge to Miami. But yeah, you're right. I mean, it's no big deal. A loss is a loss. And this is actually my viewer's choice for this week. This isn't my upset because I already named it, but this is my game to watch because this is going to be great. The Kansas City Chiefs at the Jacksonville Jaguars. Patrick Mahomes and Nick Foles battling it out. Ooh, is that going to be good? But, of course, the Chiefs are my team. I'm going with the Chiefs, but just barely.
I will have to give this one to the Jaguars because the offense is definitely explosive, but I also see Mahomes taking a step back because, like with any player, as a rookie, he only played one game, and that was at the end of the season. Then his sophomore year, all of a sudden, he just exploded onto the scene. But that's because nobody knew how to play against him because he kept showing new things. Now, unless he can show new things this year, I don't believe he can be as explosive as he was. I don't think he can surprise anyone with his arm anymore, or his legs, or his no-look passes anymore, because I don't. You can start to plan around that. Once I think he delivered everything that he had, and I think when you do that, you kind of limit yourself to how explosive you can be against the team, because now they know everything that you can do. I don't think he's a Drew Brees or an Aaron Rodgers or a Ben Roethlisberger who can show you what they have and still make stuff happen no matter what. I have the Jaguars winning because I think their defense is a much, much better defense than really any other defense that the Chiefs faced last year. And I don't think Mahomes is ready for Jalen Ramsey and oh man, I can't remember his name again. He's opposite from Ramsey, but he's such a good cornerback though. But I give the edge to the Jaguars because, like with Nick Foles, I think he unlocks the offense. Because the Chiefs do not have a good defense. I will be frank with that. They do not have it. They got rid of D Ford. They brought in Frank Clark, but Frank Clark is actually a downgrade to D Ford, in my opinion. But other than that, their defense just isn't good. They don't have Justin Houston anymore. They don't have Eric Berry. They don't have corners. They got rid of Marcus Peters, and they just don't have anybody on defense. And I don't see how the Chiefs can win this game if they don't have a defense.
All right. But it's going to be definitely an interesting game to watch, bottom line. Next up at number 7, we have the Tennessee Titans at the Cleveland Browns. That's going to be another good one. But of course, like I said, I'm all about the Browns this year. Like I said, I'm glad to be back in the dog pound. I'm super excited for the Cleveland Browns this year, and it's about damn time. I'm giving it to Browns.
You're going to be surprised, but I'm going to take the Titans. Only because I think the first game of the season, they have a rookie head coach. They have all-star talent, of course. But you definitely have some divas on the team. Baker Mayfield is going to be a good quarterback, but he also comes with drama as well from college. Odell Beckham is definitely a big drama queen. Maybe not as much as Antonio Brown. But, him and Jarvis Landry, they played in college. So playing on the same team, that'll be good. But, new head coach, he's trying to get the ball to everybody else, But there's so many good people or good players, and there's so many egos going around as well, though. And then, not to mention the controversy they have with Kareem Hunt. Their defense is stacked. I don't see their defense really being the problem. But I feel as if the Titans have a better coaching staff, and I give the Titans just that little edge because of coaching.
Interesting. Very, very interesting, sir.
Coaching can change.
Oh, absolutely. That's exactly it. It's not the way you play; it's the way you're coached.
Yeah.
I can understand that. I won't get mad over that one. Number 8, we're only halfway there. We've got to kind of speed it up just a little bit. Number 8, we got the Rams and the Panthers. That's a no-brainer to me. That's Rams all the way.
That's rough. Like I said, it depends on Cam Newton. Safe bet, though, just like with the Colts, how I was right with Andrew Luck. I don't think Cam Newton's going to retire, but I think Cam Newton will be injured. I don't think he's going to be 100%, so I do give it to the Rams because of Aaron Donald, Todd Gurley. Yeah.
Jared Goff. Dominic Sue's gone. That's right.
He's with the Buccaneers.
Yeah, he's with Tampa Bay. Okay, next up we have the Cincinnati Bengals and the Seattle Seahawks. There's another no-brainer. That's Seattle all the way.
Yeah, I got the Seahawks. The Bengals, complete rebuild mode. Easy.
See, they're another one. They've been in rebuild mode for 25 years now. They're due though too. Yeah, the Seahawks are just gonna slaughter them. Well, here's another one: Colts and the Chargers. Chargers.
I'll say the Chargers only because Kyle Murray is probably not going to be as good as people say, but they do have a good defense. They have Terrell Suggs.
Colts and
the Colts. Oh, yeah.
I'm like, wait a minute. When did
My
Kyler
bad.
Murray get traded already because Arizona didn't want him?
I apologize. There's a lot of C's in there.
Yeah, all right.
But that makes it a little bit more difficult, but I'll give the edge to the Chargers. But I think Phillip Rivers will have a hard time with that defense.
Really? Against the Colts, huh?
Yeah, that defense is crazy.
Man, kind of, yeah. I still think, yeah. If we would have talked about this 2 years ago, I'd have been like, I don't give a fuck. But again, now with how much this shit has changed this season, our next one, the 49ers and the Tampa Bay Bucks. Wow. That is going to be interesting. I'm giving it to the Niners, but just by a hair.
I give the whole game to the Niners because I think this is the year that the Buccaneers realize that Jameis Winston is not their quarterback. And so they start going into rebuild mode.
All right. Number 12, the Giants and the Cowboys. Again, in this situation, I could give a fuck about either one of them. But I'm going to go with the Cowboys.
I went with the Giants because Daniel Jones, Saquon Barkley, that defense is actually pretty good. The Cowboys off it. If Ezekiel Elliott is playing, I got the Cowboys. If he's not, which I don't think he will because of his contract, I got the Giants.
Well, the latest what I read today is that, again, this whole typical NFL front office bullshit, they are, air quotes, close to a deal. So we'll see if it'll be on time for Sunday's matchup or not. I don't know. But, yeah, it's that typical same shit. Number 13, Lions at the Cardinals. This is where you're going to see if Kyler Murray is actually worth it, which he is not. Again, if you listen to the previous episode, but earlier in the podcast, I basically took a shit on rookie quarterbacks, and that's the way it's been for the past few years. I'm sorry, but it's the truth. 90% of your quarterbacks end up being a bust, with the exception of one or two here and there, like Baker Mayfield.
Yep.
That's basically your only exception right now. You're going to laugh. I kind of want to take the Cardinals, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go with the Lions over the Cardinals on this one.
I got the Lions because their offense is going to be, I assume is going to be great, but you never know. It is the Lions. But their defense, they made a lot of transactions, and they did a lot of good things with their defense, a lot of good free agents. So I give it to the Lions, and I think they definitely test Kyler Murray 100%.
Yeah, that's one thing I really haven't been very vocal on. Is I'm very, very solid on our defense this year, dude. Oh my god, I'm very excited to see what this defense is gonna do this year. I mean, starting late last season, probably like the 9th or 10th week. You've seen that turnaround. And I definitely see the Detroit Lions defense being in the top 10. So we might be like a Baltimore Ravens. You know, a defensive-minded team. Yeah. That's the way it's shaping up. I was very impressed with our defensive stops, especially in this preseason. I got a chance to watch a couple games, and I saw some highlights here and there. Our defense looks very good. So, and I'm letting you all know out there right now, I'm not going to be biased with the Lions, unlike Danny over here, who's probably going to pick the Lions every week. But no, I'm not going to be doing that. But I will take the Lions over them because the Lions have the second hardest schedule in the NFL. Yep. So I'm setting the bar low just because of that. Because after this game, the next 6 out of 7 are leaders in their division, and it's not going to look good. So I'm setting the bar low, but I'm definitely taking the Lions over the Cardinals in this one. The next up, the Pittsburgh Steelers and the New England Patriots. I'm going with the New England Patriots.
Oh.
I'm going with the New England Patriots because, like I said, Pittsburgh, their offensive weaponry is depleted. Ben Roethlisberger's got juju. I've been saying that for the past couple episodes now, and I don't see them having what it takes this year. I think this is it for Big Ben and company. So, but again, I'm no Patriots fan either by any stretch. I'm just going by the way I see it. I can't stand the Patriots, but again, Pittsburgh don't have their threats, especially with Brown and they're all gone. I don't think Mike Tomlin will be able to turn this around. I really think this is going to be the downfall for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and that's why I'm still sticking with the Cleveland Browns taking the AFC North. So, yeah, I'm definitely going with the Patriots over the Steelers.
I picked the Steelers because I still think they're more well put together than the Patriots. I think because of Gronk and because they didn't really go out and grab anybody, I still believe that this will be their year where they fall. Now, do I think they're going to go like 3-13? No, but I do believe they will probably go 7-9 or 8-8.
Really?
But I see the Steelers winning this game because their defense is coming back to being the steel curtain again like it used to. I mean, they have so many defensive players. And then, what was his name? Devin Bush from Michigan. I may not be a Michigan fan. I'm an MSU fan. Go Green. But Devin Bush was phenomenal in the preseason. Did he make a lot of takeaways? No. But what he was good at was getting into the backfield and getting those tackles for losses and stopping the team from getting first downs. And that's what's really important. If you can stop a team from getting first downs, you kill their drive and you kill their motivation. So I give the Steelers this game.
Yeah, interesting. This is gonna be a fun season, man. Oh my god. Next up, this one's a gimme. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna backtrack on saying this is a gimme. This is actually gonna be a pretty interesting game. The Houston Texans at the New Orleans Saints. That's gonna be I had to backtrack a little bit there. This is actually gonna be. This is going to be a blockbuster. But of course, it's my Saints. No Saints.
I'm going to give it to the Texans. I think Deshaun Watson and Drew Brees are definitely going to duke it out because everyone keeps forgetting that DeAndre Hopkins exists, and yet he posts numbers that are better than almost every receiver in the league. Anyone that's close enough to get to Calvin's receiving yard record will be DeAndre Hopkins. I mean, the guy's phenomenal. He's got Deshaun Watson who can just throw it from anywhere. And I just give it to the Texans. I think they got it.
On the road in New Orleans?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Think about it. Last year, the Lions gave them, it was either last year or the year before, the Lions also gave them a run for their money, too.
Man. Going with an upset there. And finally, rounding out week 1, we have the Denver Broncos at the Raiders Monday Night Football. This is one of those throwaway games for me because I could care less about either one of them. I used to be a huge Raiders fan back in the late 80s when I got into football. You know, Bo Jackson, Rich Gannon, etc., etc. I don't really give a shit about either one of them now. But I'm going to go with the Raiders over the Broncos. I think they're going to turn it around this year. It's just Antonio Brown better check his fucking attitude. AB, grow up, dude. Seriously. Go out there and fucking win football games for your team, not because of your ego.
I actually give it to the Broncos because Bradley Chubb and Von Miller bring in probably one of the best duos in defense right now. I mean, last year, Bradley Chubb, I think he had over 10-something sacks. Von Miller had over 12 sacks. Like, combined, they had more sacks than some teams. It was just the two of them. The only thing that sets them down is the fact that they have Joe Flacco. He has an arm, but that's about it. I think all of his years in Baltimore, it was just the defense that helped him. He also had really good running backs like Ray Rice. I don't care what anyone says. I think Ray Rice was a really good running back. Now, what he did, I think, was not right. But if he didn't do that, I think he would still be in the league as of right now. But I give the Broncos the edge, although I don't trust their quarterbacks yet again.
Yep, like I said, that's what it always boils down to is your bottom line is your quarterbacks. So that's it. That rounds off our week 1. I kind of want to stay ahead of this. So that way, always want to try and stay 1 week up. So that way all we got to do is, do our little recap and then talk about week 2. So if you don't have anything else, I am out. I don't have anything else. Do you have anything else?
No, I'm pretty good. I think we're at the point where we just have to watch the games now and see what happens. I mean, every new season brings change, new situations, sometimes the same old, like Antonio Brown, bunch of drama. You get contract disputes. But I think we did really well in the preseason, and I think this is going to be a great season for us, and I think it's going to be a great football season to watch.
Well, because you got to remember a little fun fact. The last time the Detroit Lions went 0-4 in preseason, we ended up taking it at 11-5. So, like I said, I'm not saying the Lions are going to do shitty. I'm not going to say I'm in the middle, but I've been dealing with this for 30 years. This is the last time. If you're not going to do it, I'm done. I'm anti-Lion. I've been holding on to this ball for too long. I'm definitely going to be paying attention. That's for sure. Because like I said, this is it. Every year the Lions were stacked. Every single year we got the talent, but you just don't know how to coach them. And then you get hurt, and then you're out. And we're scrambling because we don't have, good players, not great players, but good players to cover your spots. So like I said, it's going to be, to me, I'm looking at it, this is going to be the same old Lions, then just a different year. So I'm keeping that bar low. But anyway, the next time we will be getting together, we will be talking about the end of week 1. I cannot believe this. It is finally here. I mean, I'm more excited now, but I was excited Saturday because it was the kickoff of college football. Yep. I watched Michigan kick ass against Middle Tennessee. And, this is going to be fun. This is going to be one hell of a ride for the next, 5 months. Nothing but football. Yeah, I love it. So, the next time we get together, we're going to be recapping week 1. This is where it counts, ladies and germs. So we are going to call it a night. And we will talk at you guys next week when we will be recapping week 1, our picks for week 2, and who knows what else we're going to throw your way. So until next time, this is the Pick 6 Podcast. I'm Larry Sazinski.
This is Danny Waiter telling you guys to take it for a touchdown. See ya.